Where's Jamie when you need someone to eject?
She's working, apparently.
That's true.
Apparently it wants to look at me.
Whoever's doing show and tell just has to like walk around showing.
I would it's the floor.
Gravity will work.
Okay. So, first item, the financial update. Fearless Money Leader.
I don't believe we had any, thank you Matt for changing my mistake here. We didn't have any class income for April this month, but we did have $237.19 from Amazon Prime, which when I went through and did the calculation, that means this year people in the lab spent about $8,000 on Amazon to get that money, which works out to about $133 per member at the lab.
So Dave, what did
Yeah,
I bought a lot of stuff on Amazon.
About a $3,000.
On Amazon?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
I thought that was kind of. So since last month we lost 3 members. One of them moved out of town. One of them was already out of town for a long time, and one, I forget why the other one left. I think he just felt he didn't have. He just wasn't really using the lab much. But I think we've got some new members joining pretty soon, so that's really exciting. So that puts us at about 119 members, including everybody and sponsored members and all of that. And one thing, just as a reminder, that if there's the link for member donations, a couple people have been asking about this, and I know at least one person signed up and started donating some extra money. If anybody has extra money that they don't want to, give to Amazon, apparently, they want to give to us every month or a one-time thing, you're welcome to go on the payment links, and you can either give a single-time donation or a recurring donation, or even a donation for a period of time. So feel free to take advantage of that and let us take advantage of it. That's about it.
Great, thanks, Dan. Sure. Cool. All right, Maker Faire. Maker Faire is coming.
Yes.
Is there someone talking about Maker Faire specifically, or am I supposed to just ad-lib it now? Ad-libbing. All right.
That'd be Michelle.
My bad.
It's coming. I don't know how many days it's coming, but it's coming. Well, Lily has the countdown.
It's under 180 days. It's something terrifying.
It's going to come up quicker than we want.
It's like 24 weekends.
172 days.
I was going to say, it's roughly 30 days less than the last time we talked about it, and probably nobody has done a damn thing about it in that
So
time.
at this point, it's like last it was like 5,000 something hours.
Oh gosh.
So, yeah, I know a couple of us went to a meeting at MakerFX, and they're not doing like a big show like they did with Architect this year, but it's going to be every other year. But yeah, if you're interested and participating at Maker Faire with the table, then I will be sending out stuff on Slack to let you know when it's open and when you can sign up. And please put that you're with FamiLAB so that we can all kind of be together in one area.
Call for Makers open on July 18th.
Cool.
I wrote that down somewhere.
It's also hidden in the Slack and the Maker Faire channel too.
Once it's open, we'll go over it in more detail.
Yep, and if you have questions, there's the Slack channel. Great place to read on the history as well. Brian,
Yes.
the anniversary hackathon route.
Yes. So, Lab's turning 10. Let's celebrate. The best way to celebrate, because we're a hackerspace, is, well, a hackathon. So, we're all going to want to form teams of some sort because you have a challenge. This will be Father's Day weekend. It will start Friday somebody fill this blank in for me, please. June 14th. And end on Sunday the 16th. That Friday night, we're going to unveil one thing you must include in your, what's the thing called?
Rube Goldberg.
Yes, a Rube Goldberg machine. You will have to make a Rube Goldberg machine to light a candle on a cupcake.
Does the cupcake have to be edible afterwards?
There are bonus points if it is.
Some no.
So,
Build the machine on fire. That's the best combination.
yes, so you will want to create a Rube Goldberg machine of however complicated you want. However, it is a minimum of 2 complications, including the lighting the candle on a cupcake, plus 1 for every person on your team. So if
You
you're
gotta like them too.
Bonus points.
That would be a complication.
Bonus points if they survive.
Yeah. So if you're working alone, you only need 3 complications. If there are 7 of you, good luck.
We could all form one giant team. You can make the most complicated thing ever.
We all win.
Isn't that the lab?
So there will be 1 mystery item that you must include somewhere as an active component. You just can't set it on top and have it look nice. No, you have to use it somehow.
What's the box?
What's in the box?
You will find out on Friday when the contest starts.
How many of these things do you have?
As many as we need.
Don't tell it.
So
Dave, thanks for information.
if you're interested, please talk to me after the meeting and we'll get you signed up.
There's also a channel.
Yes,
Slack
and
channel.
Hackathon is the channel on Slack.
Thanks, Brian.
Yep.
Thank you, Brian. POC discussion. Are you leading? I was gonna know. What does that stand for again? Point of contact.
Point of
So some of the areas in the lab have points of contact. And I believe we need to have a discussion about that because there's a vacancy in the metal shop. Is that my understanding? Am I getting it right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah. Who brought it up and what are we talking about?
Kyle? I brought it up because we had a few questions about who's the point of contact and people being available for answering questions. Also, what the rights and responsibilities are of the point of contact as well for those areas. So I guess we don't have a point of contact right now at all for the metal shop. The point of contact for the FamiLAB is, I believe, still Katie. But she's, I guess, been taking a break from that.
Yeah, I think it's Nick that's taking a break from that. She's still active on Slack, right? So.
Yeah.
I guess. That's all it was, because we need to sort out who's going to be the point of contact. One of the things is the parking ticket system requires one.
That's fair. All right. Do we have anybody who wants to volunteer or would like to be the POC for the metal shop?
What does that entail?
Good question.
The minimum entail.
I like the metal shop. I spent a lot of time back there.
The minimum is managing the parking tickets.
I got a question. When we talk about the metal shop, are we talking about the machine shop or are we talking about welding?
Machine shop,
We're talking
cold
about
metal.
machine shop.
Well, metal that's mostly cold.
Do you have a point of contact for the welding?
That's right.
I think that we do.
I think
It used to be Jamie, but it's not anymore.
it's worth noting that we have had points of contact for a number of these areas in the past, who have had, moments in their life where they were not available to be the point of contact in that moment. And so in light of that, the board has talked to some people from ops, and we want to make sure that we have some way that, some system for a point or points of contact for each area that will make it so that one person doesn't have a large burden, especially if, say, we have a very active machine shop, then that's a lot of machines for one person to manage. So we're looking into ways that we can maybe, make that not such a burden for any individual person, and also make it not an issue for anyone who's trying to find out, hey, I want to use this machine. What classes do I need to take? Who's the person to talk to? So that it's better for everybody who wants to try and use equipment in a responsible, safe, but also fun lab kind of way. So that is something that the board will continue to discuss in terms of what we think the duties and responsibilities of this role should be going forward. And we want to hear from ops as well, so we'll be communicating with them. But we wanted to put the word out at this meeting just so people are thinking, if you might be interested in that, if there's an area where you would, where you enjoy working and you know a lot and you think you might be able to help out the lab in that way, keep your ears peeled, I suppose, because we very well might be looking for new or additional points of contact. And we just wanted to get the word out because that's something that we're aware of. We've heard about it, and we want to make sure that things go as seamlessly as possible around the lab.
I think that's about as well summarized as can be done. I was trying to think if we have it written down somewhere, and I don't think we actually do.
I mean, I'm interested in helping out, and that sounds like something
PLC.
I like. Everything except the
Maybe on the
house.
wiki, but I'm uncertain.
I don't think we actually have it defined.
I had spoken to Chuck Overkill, and he mentioned that he would be interested in taking over the point of contact responsibility for the machine shop. I personally would not mind taking over the responsibility of being the point of contact for the welding shop. But both of our concerns are basically revolve around the rights and more specifically the responsibilities that come with those rights. I think that that's something that needs to be resolved before anybody gets added onto it or just keeps.
Didn't we write all that down at one point?
You take the class and you get to use the machines, right?
Take the class or be qualified. Like, if you
Or know what
already
you're doing.
have the skills,
Yeah.
like that's.
I don't think it's a rights thing. I think it's take the class.
But what Frank's talking about is what are the responsibilities, rights of the POC in specific.
Yeah.
And that is something that we, the board, will be going over the next month, and we will be able to have a more clearly defined thing.
We will, the board with ops and any members who want to be involved, we can work on clearly defining what the roles, what the rights are, what the responsibilities come down for each individual areas, because it's not exactly going to be the same in every area. So.
Right. And keep in mind as well that board meetings are open to members. So if you're interested in being a POC or have really strong opinions about what the definition of POC should be, board meeting is a great place to go and talk about that.
This month's board meeting is going to be remote. We're not going to be gathering directly.
Yeah.
So there'll be a video link available if anybody wants to join us.
Quarterly warehouse organization. Does somebody want to talk about that? I forget the details.
So if nobody's noticed, we got a lot of shit. And some of that shit doesn't necessarily need to be here or be where it's at. And later towards the end of June, we're going to be going through like pallet racks, the wood shop in different areas, and basically doing a spring cleaning in summer. And we're going to try to start doing this quarterly, just, making sure that cruft isn't accumulating, making sure that, okay, this thing that's been sitting here that has zero use and it's been sitting there for a year is no longer just sitting there.
Or a layer of dust so thick that it's practically paper.
Right.
So June 29th and 30th, and many hands make light work. And if you have a specific interest in an area of the warehouse being cleaned up, probably a great time to come out and make yourself heard.
I know that we had mentioned about buying pizza, and I'll chip in on pizza, and I'm sure several other people will as well. But we want to make sure that we get as many people here who can get through it as quickly as possible, because none of us want to sit and clean. We all want to work on things.
Yeah, the 29th and 30th of June.
Should be, I think, the last weekend of next month. That's the last Saturday and Sunday in June. So.
It should be fun. I mean, it won't be torturous. We can make it fun. We can have a good time.
You might consider renting a dumpster for the weekend rather than trying to fill up hours and paying for it. It'll be, I think, less expensive. Just renting a one-time, big dumpster.
That's a really good idea.
Put it at the end of the ramp.
Yeah.
Cool. That concludes the board-led agenda items. So I'd like to pass it over to Siraj for the ops-led portion.
Hello.
Hi, Siraj.
Hi, Siraj.
Hi.
Motion to the front.
Sorry, I'm in the back now.
So we should turn the lights so we can see them on the camera. Hey, there we go.
So ops-led stuff.
First day was gonna be first today, so if you wanna take a look at what's on there, and if it's been there for at least a week or at least a month, it's yours, otherwise it's going in the trash can. We need to make sure we clean up after ourselves when we're using the tools or like any of the space. We have no janitorial or janitorial service that we pay for really anyone that's designated as the cleanup person for everyone else. So if you come to the space and it's pristine, make sure it's pristine when you leave. Or if you want to go around and like clean up the area around you that you've been working, that's good as well. The lab's only as nice as we make it, and we have to keep it that way. Otherwise, you know, it's going to be not going to have it next year. It could burn down after all the oil I spill outside. Who knows? We do have cleaning supplies for doing cleanups. They're under the sink over there. We have wet wipes. That's not right. Sanitizing wipes and bleach and stuff like that, cleaner. So if you have a question about stuff, you can just ask in Lab Ops and Management. What's right here? It looks like this. And we can help you out.
And if any of those are running low or out, let us know so that we can get new ones for additional
Where should
ones.
we let you know?
If we're running out of stuff, like this consumables like cleaning wipes or toilet paper or paper towels, post in the Lab Ops and Management channel that we're running out, and someone can make a Sam's Club or Costco run to get some more. So don't get sick of one play again.
Just like we're gonna do for the spoons.
Yeah, for sure.
Or, like, we are a completely nonprofit, member dues driven organization. If you feel so nice as to go to Costco or Sam's or wherever and get cleaning supplies and donate them, we appreciate it greatly.
Yes, that works as well.
Or even if you're just going there anyway and somebody said, hey, we need these, let us know. We might say, hey, here's $10, please pick up spoons while you're there. They were posted earlier this week.
You know if those have enough alcohol in them to light on fire? Ask your friends.
What?
That sounds like a test we need.
I wouldn't save it for the hackathon.
All right, so clean up after yourselves.
Sorry.
Just going up on some of the stuff we have going on the next month. We've got, as you can see on the projector now, because hockey is hard. We have a Grand Prix and Formula One meetup on the weekend, this weekend on Sunday, I think, which Mega is doing, and it's terrifying how many screens he has open. But it looks good. Last time we did it.
What is it?
What is Formula One?
So
Grand Prix.
Formula One racing, yeah. I come and watch replays or watch events, talk about it, whatever. There's not really any in Orlando that have a meetup for the Formula One events. This one is Monaco, and it's actually, I think, playing at 9, so you can watch at 5. 9 o'clock in the morning.
They're often 3 o'clock in the morning, so this one's
Yes. We've also got Learn to Solder on the 1st. If you want to learn how to do soldering, you're in someone else who might want to do that. You can sign up on, just click the link on the calendar. They can sign up and pop it on Saturday, June 1st. If you want to learn how to use a laser, if you're a prospective member or anyone that really just wants to learn how to use a laser, come out to Laser 101, June 1st. It's free. It's for 2 or 3 hours, and you get
Laser 101 lasts an
hour. It's an hour long. It's pretty, you can get cleared to use a laser. Now, if you're a prospective member or a current member, you can use a laser whatever you want after taking the class, but if you're a member of public or you're going through the process still, you still need someone to oversee you while you're in your membership process. We've also got the board meeting on the 9th, if you want to sit in on that. The next member meeting is on the 18th, kind of like what we're doing now. And the 10th anniversary hackathon is on from the 14th and 16th. That's virtual. And the warehouse organization is this way next. If you haven't seen the calendar recently and wondered why there's some things that happen pretty often, we've got the TCP/IP class every Sunday. Wednesday is Microsoft Service Technology Workshop. Every other Friday is the Radio and Electronics Meetup. And the Raspberry Pi Jam is the 25th, which is really crazy. And something I have no idea how to do. Or sorry, 4th Saturday, 4th Monday, 4th Thursday. DC 407 is meeting on the 25th, Modular Monday, and Synth Meetup is on the 27th. Which is crazy, and the lab gets a lot.
April 27th? So next year?
Sorry.
We may have copied last month's meeting.
Mistake is
Check the
that not all
calendar,
the
the calendar has all
updated.
those.
The calendar has the updated dates on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can follow the calendar, you can do, copy the calendar yours.
It's a Google calendar, you can
It
actually
is-
add it to your own calendar, so you can look at it at any point in time, see most current events.
The next monthly modular is, the Memorial Day.
Oh yeah, modular memorial.
Mhm.
We're literally calling it that.
Modular Memorial.
So
And
that is
completely
Monday the
skipped
26th.
over on June 1st, the How to Teach a Class. So there are excellent people who know all kinds of things in this place. If you want to share your knowledge and aren't sure quite how to get started with that,
It's already on.
yep, that is how to get started with that. So
You always get
please,
something.
please come. We can help you beta test, design curriculum, just give you ideas to get things to go off the ground. Share what you know.
This is how to share what you know 101.
But what if we don't know anything?
You need to know about it.
You just have to be 5 minutes ahead of everyone else.
If you don't know anything, the name might be Jon Snow.
Not anymore. Now for the fun part of the meeting. So we'll introduce some prospective members.
I'm gonna go ahead and cast the video of a perspective who could not be with us tonight.
We have a perspective who got sick, I think this is one, who did a video intro.
Before or after.
So pre-recorded, no question.
Oh, his
I
name is
don't know how
Michael
well this is gonna work.
Laser.
Lazar.
My name is Michael Lazar.
Oh.
I do go by Mike. I'm 20 years old. I'm currently attending the Valencia College for my electrical engineering and computer systems degree. My latest project, I was working on my electrical skateboard. I think I'm on version 5 about now. And I do own a 3D printer. I've been printing for about a year now. I've been loving that. I'm super interested in the metalworking part of FamiLAB, specifically the CNC and lathe machines. I did come and laser cut my wallet. I believe it was about a week and a half ago with Kyle. I did post it to the I made this channel on Slack. I do love teaching the public a knowledge base to really teach a class about me. As I progress through my major, maybe I'll get something else that I can teach. But I'm sorry I'm not able to make it tonight. I did fall ill, so I'm really excited to start working with you guys and see you guys soon. Bye.
All right.
What's your favorite call?
Think of the ending. Who's your favorite?
It sounds like,
Why did
like
that help?
cheating.
I almost
favorite Digimon? Why is it Pikachu?
almost wrote that.
No. Many layers of.
All right, who's next? Come on up. So, if you want to assume the position in our lovely studio, you can stand, you can sit, you can do
The
it.
stool.
The stool.
And maybe you
You're
hold
the
it.
captain, Joe.
Uh,
How would you like to integrate the stool into your introduction?
Points for style.
This is a personality test. The stool.
We're totally.
And now that I told you the test, it's no longer a test.
Oh, we're still gonna judge
Well,
it.
the only proper way to do it is Captain Riker it, but it's not tall enough.
Yes.
But anyway, so my name is Patrick Dorton. I just graduated from UCF with a computer science degree.
Nice.
I did blacksmithing back in high school, and I'm getting back into it now.
High school is blacksmithing.
One's in really poor places in Virginia where being a furrier is a real career decision.
It's a real decision here in Florida too.
That's true.
Perfect, yeah. On agriculture.
But basically, I'm getting back into blacksmithing and knife making. Got a few projects that I want to do there, and I'm wanting to learn to do stuff with the lathes for making like really cool looking pens and stuff, and other things that turn really fast with a knife in your hand. It's like I also wanted to make a combat saber for one of my friends who does crazy martial arts stuff that I'm way not in shape for. And I have been coming here off and on with year gaps in between, as this space has really like changed and moved and gotten way bigger and gotten lots of nicer things to play with, all while sitting there as a poor college kid who couldn't afford membership fees. But now I can.
You should have come earlier. We could have worked with you.
Congratulations.
I was real broke. And the gas to get here was the problem.
Can't help you with that.
College level broke, yes.
The lab does make a great place to study though, because there's no one here on like a Friday night sometimes.
Which is fucking weird.
Well, only in late.
I'm not that old.
But I'm definitely wanting to learn to use the laser cutters and the 3D printers a lot more. I was relatively good at CAD, and extruding that into 3D modeling is probably not a terrible thing. I just have to learn it. But I'm definitely looking to do a bunch of fabrication work for a bounty hunter cosplay for DragonCon this year. That's most of my projects and stuff.
Wait, say your name one more time so that we all remember.
Patrick Dorton.
Patrick. All right. Who's got questions for Patrick?
Tabs or spaces?
Oh, 2 or 4.
Now see, tabs and spaces are not where my biggest like line in the sand are. It's same line or new line braces, and I will fight people.
Which way?
Oh, it's new line braces. Like, don't be an animal.
Skip over goal line.
I was going to say, you mentioned the Riker pose. Do you mean Star Trek, as in Commander Riker from Star Trek: The Next Generation?
Yes.
Is that your favorite Star Trek?
That's a complicated question.
And there's a follow-on, so don't get too into it.
I guess I think Next Generation was my first. Therefore, I think it's what I gauge the rest off of. But I will say that that there have been episodes in other series that I have liked better than the average episode in Next Gen.
And would you say that that's your favorite fandom, Star Trek, or do you have another fandom in which you find yourself associating more? Like you mentioned Star Wars,
such as bounty hunter cosplay.
Right.
Like Mandalorian.
So I didn't want to do Mandos because I just feel like they're a bit overdone, and then all of the rules of how specifically you have to do things to become part of like the Mando squad is just a little bit too much for me, and it's not letting me do what I would think a normal bounty hunter would do, which is being inventive with the ways that you kill people. But as far as the costume goes, clarification.
We are live on the internet.
But I think my biggest fandom as far as just general stuff goes is the Legacy of Kain series of video games. So like Blood Omen, Soul Reaver, and all of those.
Anybody else?
What class do you want to teach?
I wouldn't hate teaching some blacksmithing classes once I get unrusty at doing that again.
Sweet, you're in.
Do you have the Slack handle?
I am on the Slack, and I don't remember what my name is.
It's like Ginger Beer Man or something.
Yeah, Ginger Beer Man, yeah.
Any more questions for Patrick? Questions?
You said you graduated from UCF.
Yes.
How?
How many years did it take? We'll start there.
So it took me 6 years after coming there with an associate's, but it was also this really weird thing of them telling me half my credits didn't transfer and having to take classes again, and that sucked. But I did do it somehow, so they tell me.
What was your degree in?
Computer science. Focused mainly in doing data visualization and data processing.
Oh, cool. All right, any more questions? You're off the hook.
Cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Come on up.
No, I'm not gonna say all that.
Do it. She passed the test.
My name is Jade. I am a software engineer, and I used to be an art student, but I like money too much. I currently run the UCF robotics lab. I'm the captain of our intelligent ground vehicle team and our Formula 1/10 autonomous race car team. So I really only make useful things. I really miss making useless shit.
You were in the right place.
I have been college broke for the last long time, and now I failed electronics 1 and was unable to get into a retake of that, so I am working at Aerojet Rocketdyne, and so I don't have any classes right now, and I'm going to have one class for the next year and a half until I can finally finish my degree in 6 years after coming in with an associate's degree. So I'm going to have a lot of time on my hands and cash. And my boyfriend recently moved to Pennsylvania, so a lot of time too, to try not to feel sorry for myself. So I would love to potentially join this lab. It did take me an hour to get here after work, and that sucks. Sorry guys, that you may be losing my immense talent. I judged the what do you call it? The Small Bots of Mass Destruction competition that you brought Sporkanaut to. That was 13 hours of judging BattleBots, which was really cool.
Christ, tell me about it. Oh my God, we were there till midnight.
Yeah, Kurt, the guy that ran that competition, said that we're never doing double elimination or 3-minute matches ever again. Single elimination, 1 minute from now on. And yeah. Anyway, that's my introduction. I don't know what else you guys want to know.
All right, what else do you guys want to know?
Do you have a Slack?
No, I tried to connect to the Slack earlier at work, but I would have not lived in a Faraday cage. I worked in a Faraday cage. I could live there.
Is that a literal statement, or is that just figurative?
No, I just got the link to the Slack, and I haven't been able to just get in yet. So my Slack name will probably be my name.
You said you work at Rocketdyne, and so I was wondering if you actually work in a Faraday cage.
In a Faraday cage. Well, I haven't actually tried to connect to the internet in the lab where they keep the fake missile that I work on. My cubicle can connect to the internet. I can also connect to the internet in the bathroom.
The important part. That's where Reddit happens.
So yeah, I've run the robotics club at UCF the last 3 years, but I'm about to pass on the torch. And also our lab has 1 bridge port, a miter saw, and a drill press. So you can't really make anything there, but you also can't. But I have to be there every day to unlock the door for people who try to make things there.
Are you saying we're better than UCF?
Well, so this.
Oh no! It depends on what you're making.
So this semester, my team is competing in the Intelligent Ground Vehicle competition, which is you basically make a 250-ish pound, like almost a golf cart, but it's not really intended to carry people. It's autonomous. It's supposed to drive on a road, and we have so far spent $220. Our previous years for similar competitions, we've spent $84,000, but this year our budget is
lower.
What? Power wheels racing? No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There is an autonomous category.
Huh.
Just saying. I'm just saying.
Power wheels racing. You're limited to $500. You race your own kids cars.
Is there a Bridgeport outside the machine shop in engineering too somewhere?
Yes. So the well, okay. So the UCF Robotics Club has a Bridgeport, but we meet off campus. There's a local business which felt sorry for us and allowed us to use their storage closet as our meeting location for the last 21 years. So in the storage closet.
And then they graduated.
Sorry, this
Some of
is
them.
my 7th year of college.
Amateur.
I'm not done. So yeah, there's a Bridgeport. It's dead at the fucking doornail. But it exists. But you have to get past the smell of burning human flesh.
Oh, that's
See
okay.
the
Wonderful. So it's just like
I'm
here.
just a lady, but I know that smells like
the deal with us being able to use that storage closet is that the research labs upstairs can use it at any time for any reason. So for 3 months last year, they had a PTSD experiment running in our lab where they used scent generators to recreate the smell of burning human flesh and bring in
What?
bring in
What were they experimenting on you?
Torture house.
Were you the test subjects?
No, we just every day just sadly opened the bay door, sprayed like 4 bottles of Febreze around, and like turned on all 16 bucks fans. It didn't really help.
I would be traumatized.
That was the experiment to try to traumatize people. It was very successful.
No matter what, Febreze is now human flesh.
That's a good point too. I mean, when that happened a year ago, and when I closed my eyes, I could still smell it. So like,
Yeah,
Anytime you do the laundry, flashback.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, okay.
Does anybody have a non-human flesh?
Your thought on barbecues?
I actually hate barbecue sauce.
All right, any other questions?
Those are Martian or Earther?
Martian all the way. They're all totally focused on making that planet, habitable, green. They don't fuck around.
You're getting murdered for asking that question. Just so you know.
Can you come every month and tell more stories? Because this is
We have a blog that needs some posts.
Yeah.
Why the smell of burning flesh reminds me of making.
Or wife
Okay,
of Rita.
we're definitely gonna let you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to introduce?
And if you haven't filled out an application online, please do so that we have you in the system.
What's your name?
Russell?
Russ, yeah, Russell.
Awesome.
Hi, Russell.
Hi. So my name's Russ. I was invited here by Matt, so I know like one person. It's like the second time I've been here. Yeah.
We won't be really hard on you.
So I have a mechanical engineering degree, but I was a controls engineer for like 5 years in manufacturing before I moved to Florida. I work at Universal now. Yeah.
Yeah, we already had that conversation.
It's fine. It's cool. We all agree. But I don't know. I kind of dabbled a little bit in everything. I was into 3D printing for a while. Like I built like 3 printers, one of them that works. I used to build like control equipment for manufacturing, so I would design like control panels and take like piles of parts and actually make them do stuff. A lot of PLC programming. I've done like some woodworking. I built a guitar when I was in college. I kind of want to do that again at some point in time. I kind of play guitar. I don't really practice because I don't have time, but it's something I would like to get back into. Like I said, 3D printing. I've done a little bit of laser work, some machining, CNC milling experience. little bit of everything.
So what can you teach us?
I feel like I'm terrible at teaching people stuff because things make sense in my brain, but I don't necessarily know how to convey that to people. So maybe I need to take that class. Well, hopefully that can be useful. Maybe we'll figure that out.
Favorite fandom?
I'm not.
Any kind of fandom.
Could be books,
Any kind.
video games,
I don't read
TV,
books.
movies.
I became an engineer because I hated reading books. And like math always made sense in my head, so I was like, hey, that's cool. Let's try that. Yeah, exactly. No, I do play some video games still when I have time.
Which ones?
I wasted a lot of my time on WoW, a lot of my life. I quit playing that maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Vanilla's back.
Yeah, I heard. I was thinking about checking it out, but I don't know if I have the time to dedicate to it.
I thought you became an engineer to waste time.
Yeah.
Hey.
Everything's more efficient, so we can waste
I don't know. I like simulators. So a few months ago, I got really into flight simulation. So I'm trying to learn, kind of teach myself how to fly, at least in a simulator.
Have you played Kerbal Space Program?
I played Kerbal Space Program. I've blown up. Pretty much, I just blow shit up. Like,
That's usually the first like 6
I
months.
can get into orbit.
We made a
And you land afterwards.
No.
Did you run the ladder?
All right.
What's your feeling on ladder logic?
That was going to be my question, actually.
In what sense? I guess.
Do you like ladder logic? Is it pain in your ass?
No, I have my degree was in mechanical engineering, so I didn't really get into like traditional coding, I guess. So ladder logic's, I had a little bit of experience before, normal coding, but most of my experience was ladder logic, so I'm pretty comfortable with it. I mean, I think for doing like automation tasks and stuff, it's great.
Cool.
Nice.
All right. Cheers. There is a list. Is there a list?
Yes,
Oh.
there is a list.
I didn't know there was a list. Who's next on the list?
Ian Gibson, if they're here.
Or maybe Ian?
Maybe
Ian, Ian, they're not here.
Gibson has been hacked.
Ryan Edwards,
That'd be me.
come on to the front.
So I was late because I was at work. So what all you want to know about me?
Everything. Start with social security number.
Start with name. Tell us
No, you can already find that on the net. I found it. That was a fun day, actually. Calling Google, going, can you take this stuff down? So I'm Ryan. I'm originally from Texas. I've been here in Florida about August will be 20 years. There's a 5-foot talking mouse that's that way that we all know, and he brought me here, and I never left.
Yeah, that's scary.
Stay. No, it's okay. Hey, pays my bills, so very well. But he does pay them. So, yeah, they've just multiplied with other big, furry, 5-foot tall talking things.
We're a town counted on furries.
Then Universal got theirs, and SeaWorld got them, and then they got the Outcast down in Tampa at Busch Gardens, and over at Legoland. So,
Nobody goes to Legoland.
I've never been.
Nobody comes back.
I'm not against it. It's one of those where it's like I want to go, but at like 9 o'clock at night, I'm like, man, I should have gone to Legoland today. do you guys not do that? I mean, you think about it, like on your day off, you're with your wife, your husband, your spouse, your partner, your friend. Like, what do you want to do today? And then at like 9 o'clock at night, like we should have gone here.
We could have spent $15 and gone to Legoland.
Well, what time did it stop? 8:45. So.
You're not missing out on anything.
It's in the middle of nowhere.
It's terrible.
Well, no, I'm just meaning in general. It's always at 9 o'clock at night. Like, well, I want to go here today. Haven.
Oh, that's even farther.
Yeah,
The old Cypress Gardens.
Yeah.
So I've always been
An
into
hour and a half.
being creative and building and making stuff. Art all through school. Went to school for fine art. Then went to school started out as computer science and fine art because I wanted to be an animator, and there weren't computer animation programs. So computer science and fine art. And then I found out that I don't like programming. So my programming skills are pretty much trash. I'm sure I can get better, but I'm really good at copy and pasting other people's script that works. But reverse diagnosing, going.
Just make sure you still optimize code.
I'll just delete your name. Move this around. It doesn't look the same anymore. So then I ended up going to Full Sail and have a degree in computer animation. So I made video games and movies here and there. And then 2004 happened with 3 hurricanes. And I went through a rough spell in my life and ended up going back to Mickey Mouse because that was my happy place. And I've been in sales now with Disney Vacation Club for 10 years. So my creative and wanting to build and make stuff has kind of lapsed. And I wanted to get around people that I can build and create and help fix. And I'm the type of person, whenever something interesting drives me, I got to learn everything about it. So yes, okay. Sitting there with Wikipedia and you're reading like 35 articles about why a shoelace is a shoelace. Who invented the shoelace? That sort of stuff. Because I just have to know it. My wife will be like, what are you doing? I'm reading about shoelaces.
It's not a problem until it's 4 in the morning.
3 days later.
I have a question.
Been there, done that.
Come here.
Speaking of 4 in the morning, I believe you came here first time for an open house a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
What time did you tell your wife you were leaving, and then what time did you actually leave?
Well, I said it was 8 to 10, so I'd probably leave. I said I may want to say bye or whatever. So I probably leave about 10:15, and I think it was close to 2.
That happened.
They will have stands for.
4 a.m.
Yeah.
It's what you were saying.
Yeah, he didn't make it.
And then to let you know, I did still go home and sit at my computer and play video games. So who was the one that was talking about looking for a new game? Where'd you go? You were... There you go. Sorry. I was like, I was looking for your hat, but I didn't see it. GTA 5, the roleplay mod. It's just stupidity and hilarity, and it's great. You just run around, blow people up, or you can actually be a good person, but it's real other people that you're shooting at. So yeah.
And if you get bored, you can follow the rules.
I believe when you were telling us about it, I think you said you could actually play one of the prostitutes.
Yeah. One of my characters.
It's creepers.
Who's played Grand Theft Auto? Any of the games, right? So you go to the strip club in the game, and then there's the girls dancing. So with the roleplay mod, any NPC is now a playable character.
It's online.
Yes, and you like all the servers require a microphone, so you can talk. So I picked like a girl character, and I'm driving around in this car that I'd spawned, and I'm just driving around, and she's like in a bikini or something. And I get up, and all these guys are like, these guys are creeps regardless, and they're online still being creeps. So like, yo, baby, and I'm like, sup, bro? And they're like, oh, you're a guy? No. It was just funny that these guys it's a animated character in a video. Like it's pixels. But we had a lot of fun, and then there is a girl that's in our group, and somebody started making comments, and I'm like, bro, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm like, would you say that to her in real life? Would you say that to anybody face to face? He's like, no, and I'm like, there's a person on the other side of that microphone there, but on the other side of that keyboard. So I like to play games. I will make you laugh. That's what I like to do. I know one of the questions was, what can I teach you? So you guys will teach me a lot about having fun, building stuff, making stuff. And I love that stuff. I can teach you different stuff because I've been in sales for the past, almost 20 years of my life, sales, marketing, advertising. You guys all work for different companies. You're all building your own product. Somebody's going to want to do a Kickstarter. Somebody works in sales. Somebody works in marketing. Somebody's going to need help. I can help you if you're trying to buy a car, if you're trying to buy a house, if you need to go make a purchase, if you want to sell something. How do I market this? How do I advertise this? That's all I've done. And I've done it for Disney. And I've done it at a pretty high level and been successful. So I think I got a pretty good idea just on something different I can do. Which I'm sure nobody's going to be like, hey, welcome to the makerspace. I'm going to teach you in sales. But everybody in here is going to buy something. Everybody in here is going to buy a car, buy a house, buy an apartment, buy a computer, source parts for computers. Where are you finding it? That sort of stuff. So little things like that, which obviously you guys are going to have sources and places I can learn from. So
What part of Texas?
Waco.
Oh.
Born and raised in Waco. And no, I'm not a Branch Davidian. And they actually weren't in Waco, but when anybody asked, oh man, and they want to make fun of me, I tell them all that was my dad. And amazing, people get quiet real fast.
If I was gonna make
oh
funny,
man, do you know what those crazy people? It's my dad who's in there.
if I was gonna make funny for the Waco thing, it'd be for the airport you guys have there. It's terrible.
It's Waco, man. It's like
Waco International there. It's a nice place.
did they really call it Waco International?
Oh yeah, they have a flight that goes to Canada. Or
Oh, really?
Mexico. There's a flight that goes to Mexico.
I was like, I don't know what kind of planes are big enough to get in and out of there. I mean, no, because when President Bush was flying, he flew into TSTC because his plane was too big for the Waco airport. TSTC used to be, it was an Air Force base. So now they've still got the runway and everything. It's a school out there. But I mean, it was actually kind of cool. You stand on the runway and you're like, there's Air Force One, and there's nothing between me and Air Force One. There are, and they fly really fast, and they hurt you if they hit you. But there was no like wall. I said, there's nothing between me. And somebody's like, oh, there's a lot between you and Air Force One. It's like, yes, they're up there on the roof going with a gun, going, hi. Which is a little alarming when you just see guys prancing around on the roof at the Waco Airport, just walking around, checking you out. So they got these mega huge telescopes, which are binoculars. I want one. I don't know why.
Is it in Texas though? Just guys walking around a rooftop and guns?
Yes.
Well,
yes.
That's some parts of Texas.
Okay.
So
I think there's more Arizona, really.
growing up in high school, you'd go to I had off-campus lunch, and you'd go to lunch, and you'd see guys getting in their car in the school parking lot that we all had to pay for a parking spot. Hey man, I got a new shotgun. Check this out. What do you think? In the parking lot, lunchtime, in the high school.
This was my high school in Florida.
Hey, this has got a good sight, man. You know, they're doing that. And it was no big deal. That was just like, oh, you got a new Remington over there. You know?
Texas is also the place where you would get guns for opening bank accounts.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and people
lived there for a while.
oh,
so.
you're from Texas. How many guns do you have?
Is it less than 10?
0. I don't even own a water gun. What's up?
Since you're from Texas.
Yeah.
Chili. Beans or no beans?
No beans. Personally, no beans.
Barbecue, sauce or no sauce?
So, okay. What kind, but here you go. What kind of barbecue? And I do like to make brisket, and I do have a smoker, and I do make barbecue. So that is another thing that I can.
We have potlucks.
Yeah.
Cool.
Can you
Actually,
teach us how to do their brisket?
yeah.
There you go. There's your
I
class.
can definitely teach you that. We'll have a Saturday of it. Be like, all right, we're getting now. If you're gonna make barbecue and you want brisket, this is not like a 30-minute. We're just gonna throw something in the oven.
No, it's an all day thing.
Like I.
By the way, we are having a 10th anniversary party coming up.
I heard about that when I was here a few weeks ago. Who knows how to weld?
There's a bunch.
You can help me build a new smoker. Bigger one.
I just put my ugly drum about 3 weeks ago.
Okay. So like 55-gallon drum on the side, offset, or?
The ugly drum smoker, it's actually a vertical smoker.
Okay, it looks like an oil drum, like a 55-gallon drum. Yeah, I've seen those. Sweet Q makes them. You can get them like all ready to go, but I don't pay somebody because that's.
Well, just look up ugly drum or ugly drum smoker online. Maybe there's people making them commercial, but this is basic. It's a very basic DIY.
There's people. There's a company that's made them fancy, and they're like purple or green, and you're like, it's gonna get dirty, but okay. I've got a $600 oil drum.
I think I have about $100 for it.
Yeah, no, that's what those cost. I don't have that. Mine's cheap and rusted out from Lowe's. But it works. The grates are not rusted. There's oil there. You're fine.
We don't need a drum. We can make it out of anything. But thanks for introducing.
Cool. Thanks so much. And I'm excited to be a part. Oh, and I want to build an R2D2. That's the goal.
Oh, okay.
So fandom, you're on.
Who here wants?
I also talk
Who here needs to introduce still?
Alexander Rudy, I believe is next. Come on up.
Come on up.
Hi everyone, Alex Rudy.
Hi, Alex.
I work as a manufacturing engineer. I went to school at University of Florida for material science and engineering. Anyway, I got constantly thinking of little projects I'd like to do and don't have the means to get them done. So I was hoping to join the lab and start tinkering. I also know a bit about machining, G-code, SolidWorks, things like that. I've used the laser cutter before.
Do you have a particular fandom?
No, I don't.
Okay.
If I had to pick one, Star Wars, I guess.
Star Wars is good.
Yeah.
What do you want to make?
What do you want to make first?
First, that's a good question.
What do you want to say you're going to make first?
What do you want to start making and then stop making and start another project?
Oh man.
We do that every day.
Yeah. I'd like to integrate a PLC that we just bought at Skycraft into something.
I can
So
help you do that.
maybe you can help me out.
Minecraft has PLCs?
Yeah.
It depends.
PLCs.
They have everything sometime, someday.
That's the
Usually
that's
hidden
the
underneath
fun
something
part.
behind.
What do you manufacture?
What are we manufacturing? AR-15 barrels. Yeah, mostly churning some.
Like CNC. You work at the one that's like right down the couple businesses here?
No, I work at Ballistic Advantage. It's over in Apopka.
There's a shop that's a couple doors down that does CNC or silencers.
Really? Okay. No, we just do barrels, no silencers. Yeah, pretty simple stuff, but didn't get to learn some
Do
things.
you guys have like a button machine?
We do.
Invented them. They were silent.
Yeah, rifle buttoning. That's what we do. But anyway, both from using the PLC, I'd like to get into composites. I don't know if anyone's got experience making some carbon fiber parts.
Oh, making?
No. Use it.
I want a theoretical experience.
Hey, that works.
That's a t-shirt right there. I got a lot of theoretical experience.
So YouTube University plus Siraj equals experience.
I've been around a lot of carbon fiber and had many carbon fiber splinters.
Ouch. Yeah.
As painful as it sounds.
I'd like to avoid those.
Yeah, you won't.
You won't.
What kind of PLC did you buy? You know,
It's an Allen Bradley. Do you remember the number?
do you have the software?
It comes with a programmer.
Oh, it's like a programmable reader.
Yeah, it's an oldie.
Those are nice.
Don't need the software. But yeah, we got RS Logix 500 as well. So I don't know.
Nice.
Awesome.
Don't know how to use it, but
Yeah, I get you.
What's your favorite color?
blue.
Good choice. You just said that because I was holding a blue marker.
Attention to detail.
Situation weird.
What do you want to make a composite for anyway?
I'd like to make some free diving fins, actually.
You should talk to Dave Woods.
The building owner, he's our landlord. He has a product that he's been trying to market for a number of years, which is free diving fins.
Really? I should definitely talk to him. But yeah, that's about it. I don't talk much.
If you see someone with a table, power saw, flip flops, and short cuts down.
That's the guy?
Yeah.
Or, yeah, on a ladder that looks rickety, that's Dave Blitz.
He owns the building, so we can't really yell at him.
Watch out for that guy, I guess, yeah.
Cool.
Any other questions?
No.
Taylor Bikes Fix.
That'd be me.
Taylor Bikes.
I'm from
Texas.
Awesome. Texas.
Waco?
So just a little north.
Where at? A little north?
Forward.
Forward.
I was born in Arlington.
Okay.
Kind of around that area. Lived in Victoria for about 7 years. So I was in Texas oil field. I've been in manufacturing, CNC machinist for about 14 years now.
Hello. Hi. We have the CNC over here. We're getting too many.
We had some terrible people.
Yeah. For the last 3 years, I've been a manufacturing engineer. So I do programming for 2 years before that, G-code stuff. So if it can be machined, I can machine it.
Do you write all your G-code by hand?
No. There's software for that. You got multiple axes, macros, all sorts of stuff.
You proof check it before you send it to the machine.
Sometimes.
Valid answer.
Cool. Questions?
Who's your favorite Ninja Turtle? Why is it Leonardo?
Whoa,
I changed it up.
It's Michelangelo, obviously.
You know the Ninja
When I was a
Turtles.
kid, yeah, but
What's your favorite Power Ranger?
Different time periods.
Favorite Pokemon? Favorite fandom?
I do like TNG.
Sorry.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Who's your favorite character?
Cards badass.
The live action Sonic.
Has anyone seen one? I'm sorry? You said, has anyone seen, and then. What was it called? Star Trek Continues?
Oh, yeah.
That
Yeah.
shit was badass.
There's actually some really good stuff in there. Yeah.
They cut it short, they did what, 11 episodes?
Something like that, yeah.
That was exciting.
So since you're from Texas, dry rub, barbecue sauce, or nothing?
I'm scared. Eating's a chore. I don't really, just whatever. I eat all the time.
We should talk Star Trek later, have a fan theory.
No way.
Yeah, I know all about it.
For a diagram.
Took a whole board.
Learn how to do it.
I don't know. I just find something to build, I guess.
Let's make an air compressor and a cannon that shoots out semi-frozen turkeys.
You can do it.
And moving cars.
As long as it lights a birthday candle.
This is
you're all
oddly
set.
Just as an example, right?
Yeah.
For a friend.
Blue sedans with a certain tag number.
All right, well, thank you for.
Thank you for introducing.
Nelson.
Nelson.
Nelson. C.
Nelson.
We have Nelson tonight.
We don't have Nelson.
Any others that we missed?
That's it.
That's all for introductions. Thank you to everyone who introduced.
We never
Hold on a
actually
minute.
did show and tell.
Yeah,
We
we're
need-
coming back around to it. It's at the end of the. We also never did. Hold on, I'm talking, goddammit. Thank you to everyone who introduced. Thank you to David Craig and Brandon Mandan, who finished, they got their 3 testimonials, so you will be receiving emails after the meeting on how to proceed further. Now, we have the testimonials for members. These are examples of what we ask the prospective members to get, basically character witnesses. Is that the right word?
Sure.
Sounds
good. Find 3 members of the lab who are willing to say nice things about you or vouch for you as a non-murderer. It's the general.
Will not generate paperwork.
Without further ado, the testimonials.
Spoiler, everyone generates.
Tonight, I came here
Hopefully.
because I thought it would be great to see a hackerspace for the very first time. You're gonna have to live with it, Mike. I think sometimes these comments get a little out of hand, and so I'm trying to bring it back in, walk it in, if you will.
Stab you in the face with soldering iron.
You can try. Tonight I want to do the first one from Peter recommending David C. David has been spending significant time at the lab, significant. He has been a wonderful addition to classes on both Wednesday and Sunday nights. He brings expertise and a unique perspective and passion that makes classes better simply because he is there. He has a desire to share his knowledge by teaching in our community, his expertise as a technology professional, and his years of volunteer work in humanitarian disaster relief, and so on. My thanks, Peter. Got to keep things moving. The next one is from Ed, who does knives, for Shannon.
He makes knives.
Thank you. It seems like a good, sweet person that is enthusiastic about making. Next. Brian Z, recommending Marie, an eager student and an asset to the lab, didn't set laser on fire during Laser 101. Please don't set the laser on fire during the basic class. We need the laser.
Or ever.
But if you do, what do you do?
That's advanced.
You learn that laser
Exactly. If you don't know what you're supposed to do, it does catch fire, then you need to take the class again.
Thank you for allowing me to do this egregious impersonation of Christopher Walken.
I'm so proud of you for not doing Sean Connery again. Yeah. I'm trying to. All right, so that's all our testimonials.
Show and tell.
Show and tell.
We're a little out of order because
we have a list.
we have a list.
We have a
I
list.
go last. This is the rule. Mr.
Blackberry goes
Fred.
last.
I go last.
Okay, he goes last. So
That's true.
Anna, please come up and show us.
Frank, you're up.
Well, I have to do Frank stuff.
Show and tell.
I sent Dave the picture.
I'll have to
okay, so
post
then
it.
Anna can go.
Anna, go do your thing. I'll post.
All right, I'm gonna sing. It's not done yet. Basically, I took a picture of mountains a couple years ago in Tennessee, and I used Photoshop to make it into the foreground, midground, background, and second background. And then I cut it out on the laser and made it into a box.
Nice.
And it's not done yet, but I'll show it again when it is done. I don't know when that will be.
Yeah. Very cool.
Also, it's not glued in there, so I can't tip it more than this because it'll fall out. All right.
What part of Tennessee?
Cheers.
Gatlinburg.
Redneck Disneyland, my favorite. Yay, Dollywood! Dollywood's awesome.
It was actually over Gatlinburg.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Do you ride the sleds?
No, I didn't. It wasn't like the slide thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't open.
Oh.
But I did ride like the chairlift thing up to the top of the mountain. That's where I took the pictures.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Roger, you're so patient. You had like your hand up, didn't you?
I was gonna ask if that was a 3D engraving or just did you isolate the colors?
I just like isolated the colors.
All right.
I cannot.
How we doing, Dave?
Well, it's not letting me connect. So.
Oh my God.
The
You mean there's audio visual issues?
Or Christopher Watt.
Yeah.
I could go and cover the technical difficulties.
Good.
Good.
Lots of things, all look bad.
As usual. Well, bag of things.
Oh, boy.
Bag it box.
Your collection every month keeps getting larger.
I know. I've run out of shelf space. I keep finding more, but I don't know how. So,
Shelf space for amazing completed projects.
Yes. Number of things I made. Well, that one I made myself entirely for Mother's Day. This one I helped my brothers put together. It would work. So she's gonna go, hey, it just goes. So first time doing edge lit acrylic. Turned out okay, except I think I might have overdone the power setting on the acrylic because there's cracks and stuff along the edges that started to form, which is annoying, but it turned out.
Did you happen to clean with alcohol?
Yeah, did you clean with alcohol?
Yes, I was trying to get some of the burn marks off.
That's why it cracked.
That does it. Okay.
Ethanol will shatter acrylic.
Stress factors.
I also, my alcohol, because I've got the SLA machine now, is like 99%.
Oh, yeah.
Don't do
So
that.
that, okay. What do you recommend? Because I was trying to get rid of the burn marks off of from the fumes.
Novus acrylic polish. You don't have that.
Acrylic polish. Okay. So that was my fault. Learning.
beautiful.
It looked really good, and then like a day later, I'd started to see all the cracks starting to form. So
Yep, that's the alcohol.
okay, so that was my fault. I thought it might have been poor quality acrylic or something, but
It's better than I did for Mother's Day.
It's okay.
I'm planning this weekend to be Mother's Day.
thank you very much for saying I could keep the strip. The reason I didn't use your strip was because I would have had to put an Arduino on this. This was a free roll somebody had given me, and it came with a little IR sensor, so it actually has a remote.
I'll give you another one of
The button will work. Yeah, the button works. So I used that one because it came with electronics on it already, which was easier. So that was like, between the two of these were like 1 day builds, which is cool. The printing on that took about 8 hours just because it's big, but otherwise.
So the marble filament?
Yes, I really love this marble stuff because it almost doesn't look printed because of the texture and it's kind of more matte and shiny. And then this one, if I plug in the battery again, it's a power on it. But just like a little music box thing. My mom likes David Bowie, so. Nice. It seemed appropriate. I've been really loving panel mount buttons. That's like my favorite thing now because you just shove it in and it works. So, as do many things in life. Yes.
So I had been looking at one for a while, but your machine made me jealous. I finally went out and got my own. What?
You're welcome, man. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's like the best thing. It really is nice because I've been looking at it to do be able to do props, jewelry, things like that better. So FDM is cool, but for doing proper, I guess I'll just show the box to the camera, full of things that I've been printing, busts and things that I'm gonna prime them tonight, start painting them. So I got an Epex X1, which is another one of those like cheap $500 MSLA machines that are coming out. I looked at it between the Photon and the Epex, and the only reason I went with the Epex was because I'd heard about the Z-wobble issues on the Photon, and the dual axis rods on the Epex are supposed to be a little bit nicer for that, and apparently the bed living, but otherwise they seem very similar. As far as the smell, I haven't noticed much of anything.
It depends on which resin you're using.
Yeah, well, the bio resin that it came with, the very first print was really smelly, but after the print, the same resin doesn't smell anymore. So I was wondering if it was maybe the machine to start
Or your
with.
nose is not.
Yeah, your nose is or I'm just, yeah, you find out later. This is true.
On mine, I found that the gray resins do not have nearly the smell of some of the other ones. The blues and some of the greens and stuff are really smelly.
Okay. Well, I've had the advantage of all I'm doing is gray because it makes it good for base for priming and stuff. I don't need it to be special color. But quality-wise, it is really awesome because I'm doing 0.025. It's kind of a compromise. At 0.05, yes, 0.05 millimeters, you can start to still see the layer heights. At 0.025, it's like injection molding. It's great.
The minimum those machines will do is 0.006. By the way.
Oh, okay. I thought it was 0.00 or 0.01.
That's what they state. You can actually still set to less.
So if you want to waste like 3 days of your life on something that won't look that much better. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is like an order of magnitude sharper than normal FDM, and because of the pixels, it's also in the X and Y a lot sharper, which is nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, really fine, tiny detailed things in there, like tiny. It's really incredible. I've also been doing minis, so there's some Chaos Marines in there that were printed. So that's gonna be nice. Oh yeah, I wanted to show you that I'd actually painted them. Oh.
So when is the mini painting class?
That was it. You were saying mini painting? I want to work on it because I want to be able to have some time to print a few. Like,
Is this thing still leaking?
It was a few days ago.
It's still leaking now.
Is it? Oh, good. Yeah.
What's it leaking?
Resin.
So the problem is when you do bigger busts and where's a good one to show this off with? When you do bigger busts and things, you punch holes in it, you hollow it out to save a bunch of resin because this is about 1.5 mils thick, and then it's hollow. So instead of using like 50 milligrams of resin, you use like 10 or 12, depending on the size of the thing. If the holes kind of halfway seal up because you get warping and stuff, it's soft resin being cured with UV light. If it starts to seal up, that resin gets trapped inside and will slowly start weeping out over time. And uncured resin is not good to have on your skin.
So this was like the, I don't know, 5th or 6th item that I printed.
I gave him a hard
time. I had to do it. He's like, here, can you print this? And give me this super detailed thing.
Yeah.
And my hole closed up on it. So,
yeah. So I didn't notice
you can always take like a syringe or something like that and spray alcohol in there to.
I probably could just with a table needle or something, start swish it around.
Yes, I chose my words correctly.
You chose your sound effects.
But on top of that, I have the scissors for you. It's really nice having injection. It looks like injection molding. It's really cool. So that in combination with doing like cold casting and stuff, I can start doing props that actually look like they're made out of metal. Maybe even do pewter with like a Mold Max 60 for the mold.
Yep.
So
it works really well for that.
Yeah. So I'm excited.
And there's really no cleanup needed to go from the print to the mold.
Oh, that was the big thing is because I'm still using my Prusa for bigger stuff. Like I've got a Narsil sword that I'm going to do. I'm going to cast it. Good for big stuff, but for little jewelry and props and little things where like I got a brooch for a costume that I need to do for a film, that's going to be really good because I could probably even just take that and just give it some rub and buff.
Yep.
And it will look metal. which is great. So yeah, mini painting glass workout after meeting. On request, because it didn't seem like not many people showed up afterwards or to the last one, I am doing a Fusion 360 class just as like an intro class if you want to get into learning how to use Fusion if you've never used it before. I come from a VFX art background, so when I design stuff, I'm designing stuff for looks, for printing, props, things like that. But yeah, if anybody wants to learn, hasn't used Fusion, wants to learn it, start getting into it, hit me up on Slack. I'm Blackheart, and I have a class that I've done a couple times. I've got the flow for it down pretty well now. But I think at this point I'm doing it on request because there wasn't a lot of people at the last meeting. And then the mini painting class for doing miniatures and stuff. Eventually, I don't know if I showed that to the camera.
I can also help with mini painting. I've been playing Warhammer for like 15 years.
Oh, right on. I'm not really into the tabletop gaming side of it, but I wanted to get better at detail painting for my bigger props, and starting with stuff that's that small is a good place to start, I feel. So, yeah, also things. Hopefully you figured out your technical details for today's thing. Cool. You ready?
Ready, yeah. Come on, let's do it. Oh, that was the last picture.
Well, that
That's okay.
was the order that they were in.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't make a difference. So that's a power unit for an industrial pressure washer. That's a 40 horsepower motor with two 6 gallon per minute pumps running at 4,000 PSI. Everything that you see there was built here, with the exception of the stuff that I had the CNC machine. I did it on my machine. But everything else, as you can see, it's pretty self-explanatory.
Holy shit.
And that was about 2 days from start to finish.
What are you doing? Peeling the paint off or something?
That's actually for a customer. It's General Mills, and that was shipped out to Missouri, and they use it to pressure wash the. There are these. They're called pups. It's like it carries grain, and it's got a screw in the bottom. So instead of having it to tilt upwards, the screw moves it down. So they have to wash those screws because if not, the stuff begins to ferment in the screws and it turns into like a glue and it stops it. So that's what they decided. So what's not on those pictures is a 1 million BTU boiler that those two feed the water into. So we're basically shooting steam at 300 degrees and 4,000 PSI at 12 gallons per minute.
Can I hook that up to my sprinkler system in my yard to keep the neighbors out?
Asking
for a friend, I mean.
Your water service is probably 6 gallons per minute. That's about half of the minimum that needs to be able to run.
I want to know what kind of protective they wear when they're home bending.
Protective equipment when you're using steam is pretty much worthless. Like I had an employee who was wearing safety boots with 1/4-inch leather covers over it, and he just happened to just pass the wand over it, and he was out of commission for about, I'd say about 90 days. It's funny because the boot looked no worse for the wear, but under it, the skin just kind of lifted. It was the worst thing I'd ever seen. And I saw a guy get electrocuted by 60,000 volts, so that says a lot.
Wait, and meeting on a high note.
Can we go back to talk about
Just never murdered.
Yeah, burning flesh doesn't smell good. I can still remember it.
I have zero sense of smell, so it smells like roses to me.
All right.
My sense of smells like good either, so that might be part of the reason the machine doesn't smell.
Thank you for everyone for showing and tell. One correction, Mari, did I pronounce that right? Mari has also gotten her 3 testimonials and completed her process. Yay! We had a technical error and one got lost in the ether.
Oh. Congratulations. And a reminder to people who haven't sent in a membership application to do that online.
Did you introduce tonight? Come see me after the meeting, please.
And you can actually tell a membership application will bring on the iPads too.
Yeah. Or your laptop or your.
All right. And we're done.
Yay!